Italian word. I think it was often used to reference some of the Renaissance artists. It's called sprezzatura. And an Italian word, it indicates something like graceful conduct or performance with the appearance of minimal effort. My mom just had that ability to seem like, you know, nothing was insurmountable. She was just one cool person, just a dynamite lady. And you just had this sense that when she was close to you, that nothing was going to go wrong. And so when her life, you know, kind of took a turn for the worse many years ago, you know, I faced a lot of these struggles along with her for a time. And I mean, she never lost that, you know, that positive spirit, you know, that smile, that determination to overcome her limitations. And one thing that, you know, when Cousin Carter brought one of her paintings from years ago, this kind of reminded me of, you know, a time where my mom decided to take some time off for work. She was somewhat of a workaholic, and she decided to kind of devote some time to artwork and possibly spend some time in France. She was in love with Paris, and that was her dream to one day move there. But I was just absolutely stunned when I was clearing out her room a couple weeks ago, when I discovered a treasure trove of additional paintings that she had made in recent years. She never stopped trying. She never gave up. And believe me, if you hadn't seen her in a few years, you would know that she faced a long road. She was stricken with MS over 25 years ago. And, you know, there was a lot of stuff happened, and yet she never lost that spirit, that smile, that sunshine that characterized her whole life. So years ago, I often thought, you know, when I was a little bit younger, I thought of her fate in very negative terms. I was very, you know, somewhat angry about what had befallen her, because, you know, it just didn't seem right that such a great lady could suffer such a fate. And yet, you know, so I looked at her time spent, you know, I guess, you know, as she declined somewhat, as kind of an incarceration. Just felt like she was confined. She was the kind of person that always wanted to get up and go. She had a spirit of adventure. She loved to get up early, even if nobody else wanted to go with her, to go see the sunrise in Miami. You know, she loved to, there was one time she took me to see a Grand Prix race in Miami. And I'll never forget this. This is so awesome because it really captures her. She had received complimentary tickets through her employer for pit passes. So, and she took me because I was home from college. And I'll never forget this. We're sitting in our seats. We're in the second row. I mean, I'll never have seats for any event like this again. And I kind of look down to the left, and I see this gentleman walking up the aisle, and I recognized him instantly. And I'm thinking, should I tell Mom who this is? Because I know if I do tell her, she's going to jump up and down like a winning game show contestant. And sure enough, I just had to. As he approached, I leaned over and said, "Mom, isn't that Mario Andretti?" And she just jumped up. I mean, it was like The Price is Right. Come on down. I'm still surprised she didn't tackle the man, but it was such a wonderful, you know, just moment. And she and I had many moments like that. And even though many of them, you know, much of those type of events ended long ago, you know, I'm still tremendously thankful that she was around long enough to have several beautiful moments with her grandson, Mr. Jonah here. That's her one and only. And so anyway, you know, I just want to kind of close up by saying one thing. You know, around the time where my mom became ill, there was a movie that came out, which probably most of us know this film, but it was about a man who was incarcerated for a crime he didn't commit. And, you know, he spent roughly, 20 plus years in prison. And he was a rare individual. He became a better person during the time of his confinement. And in the lives of those around him were touched and were affected in a profoundly positive way. And it was a movie called Shawshank Redemption. And for a long time I identified, there were some certain parallels with my mom, even though she was never in prison, and she never deserved to be. But I always thought there was a quote in there which kind of sums it up. Sums up my mom to some extent. And that was something to the extent of some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are simply too bright. And when they fly away, the part of you that knows it's a sin to keep them locked up does rejoice. Still, your world is that much more drab and dull now that they're gone. I guess I just miss my friend. And I long thought about that with Mom, and there's kind of another side of that, because there was this hope of one day seeing that friend again. And that hope exists always, because she's always with us. She's always with me, and she'll always be with Jonah. And that hope is beautiful, and a beautiful thing never dies.